Okay, let's practice putting all of our rules together. The fraction rules, the add, subtract, multiply, and divide, all of our order of operations, all of that. So here we have a problem that says simplify, and it is 1/3 raised to the second power. Well, let's remember what raising something to the second power means. It literally means to take and multiply it to itself. So this literally means 1/3 times 1/3. And if you'll remember your rules for multiplying fractions, they said we're supposed to multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. So in this case, our answer would be 1 times 1 is 1, and 3 times 3 is 9. So our answer would be 1/9. Now here in this next problem, we have 4/5 raised to the third power. And again, to raise something to the third power means we're going to multiply it to itself 3 times. So this would be 4/5 times 4/5 times 4/5. And then we take our rules for multiplying fractions take over, and we would multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom. So on top we have 4 times 4, which would be 16, times 4, which would be 64. And on bottom we have 5 times 5, which would be 25, times 5, which would be 125. So our answer would be 64 over 125. Now, what about something like this, where we have more than one thing going on? We have to use order of operations. Remember, always, always. So according to order of operations, it says we have to use do parentheses first. But there's nothing to do inside this parenthesis. There's just a 3, so there's nothing to simplify in there. So next we'd have to work on our exponents. We do have an exponent here, this 2 to the 4th power. Now remember, that literally means we're going to multiply 2 to itself 4 times. So 2 times 2 would be 4, times 2 would be 8, times 2 is 16. Now I'm going to recopy everything else. This is another very good technique when you're working with several operations in the same problem. Do one thing at a time and always recopy the entire problem. Now the operations we have left here are subtraction, and then between the 4 and the 3 there's a multiplication. It's not written as a little dot there for multiplication, but when there's no operation between the numbers, it's automatic that it is multiplication. So because multiplication comes before subtraction in order of operations, we have to do the multiplication first. So 4 times 3 would be 12, and I'm going to recopy everything else. Now this is saying 16 minus 12, which we can do that subtraction, and our answer should be 4. Let's try another one. Here we have, going on in this problem, we have multiplication, we have an exponent, we have subtraction, and this fraction is really nothing more than a division problem. So out of those operations, the exponent comes first. So we have to do 2 squared, which literally means 2 times 2, and that would be 4. And I'm going to recopy everything else. Now, we have our multiplication and we have our division. Now we're going to do the multiplication first, not because it's more important, but because if we work left to right, the multiplication comes first. So 3 times 4 would be 12, and then I'm going to recopy everything else. So 12 minus 6 divided by 3. Now we're going to do the division because that comes before subtraction. So 6 divided by 3 would be 2. Recopy everything else. And now finally the subtraction. 12 minus 2 would be 10. So our final answer here would be 10.